Please rewind this cassette.
Hey guys, Pat here. I'm going to talk about a most excellent movie, and one of my absolute favorites. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a time travel classic from the minds of Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, who created the characters in an improv sketch. The children of Spicoli, Bill and Ted are optimistic and lovable idiots whose music ends up bringing about peace in the future. Bill and Ted are played by Alex Vincent and Keanu Reeves, who have such good chemistry that it almost seems like a miracle that this even happened. Both have discussed their appreciation for the language of the film's screenplay. Alex Vincent in particular seems to be the one who really understood the material and went on to become an artist in his own right. I'm a really big fan of his work. Instead of having a contrast between the two, the filmmakers decide to make the characters extremely similar, like a two-headed monster of excellent. I love how this movie starts. Right away we get to know who these guys are. They want to be rock stars, but they can't play their instruments. They want to get out of high school, but are threatened with being flunked out if they don't pass their history exam. Both have a somewhat disconnected relationship with their parental figures. And above all else, they both share a general love and kindness for everyone they meet. The best thing about this movie is all of the little moments. So many good jokes are sprinkled throughout.
Excuse me, when did the Mongols rule China?
I don't know. I just work here.
This comes from perfectly timed line deliveries and reaction shots from the two leads.
Bill, what? Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
It also benefits from fantastic pacing that keeps the story moving so fast that you don't have time to think about how none of it makes any sense. A few notes. Joan of Arc is so cute in this movie. I'm legitimately in love with her. I love Bill's shoes. Like, where can I get a pair of these? I really like this joke at the end of the movie where Bill says Ted is going to translate for Socrates, or Socrates. It's clear they didn't discuss this beforehand, but Ted shrugs his shoulders and decides to roll with it. This shot of Napoleon looking down the water slide comes across like he's about to enter into another dimension. Ziggy Piggy is awesome, and the two actors are the guys who wrote the movie. The scene with Bill and Ted going to the future is shockingly emotional and gives this movie a hint of depth beyond its comedy trappings. So this scene with Bill and Ted sneaking around the police station reminds me of the scene of Neo trying to escape the agents in the Matrix. God, those Wachowskis are real hacks. This line is fantastic.
Put them in the Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden? Excellent!
Tarantino wishes he could write dialogue this good. The movie was followed up by a great and original sequel that's quite visually impressive. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which is a much more surreal film, is honestly just absolutely great, and I might even like it more, but it somewhat lacks the charm of this movie, and I don't think it's as streamlined either.
We love you. We love you. Fags!
For a movie with such a low budget, they do a good job of keeping the special effects and production design as scaled down as possible. None of it really looks very good, but you don't really care when you're watching it, so it ultimately doesn't matter. Has Keanu Reeves ever been this charming? His smile just cuts right through me. One of the genius things about this movie is that while the lead characters are dumb, the movie itself is clever and knowing of what it is. Bill and Ted are trying to sound smart, but this just makes everything funnier when they get something wrong.
Socrates, the only true wisdom consists in knowing that you know nothing.
Where it fails in making sense, the movie makes up for it with its own internal logic and rules that keep the storytelling coherent. This movie was originally pushed back by the studio. Nobody thought this film would be a success, but it ended up being a modest hit at the box office. It got good reviews, and over the years has become a cult classic. There's no denying the staying power of Bill and Ted. This movie has a simple but powerful theme. Peace and love exist throughout all of history, and the knowledge of our past sets up our most excellent future. In this most bogus year of 2020, here's hoping someday we can take Bill and Ted's message to heart and learn to party on together. This optimism warms my heart, and I can't help but revisit this movie every time I need a pick-me-up on a bad day. It's one of those perfect Sunday morning movies. They just released the third movie, but I gotta say, it's actually pretty disappointing we didn't get a half dozen movies in this franchise. I honestly think you could put these characters anywhere and it would work. Bill and Ted lead to Wayne and Garth, or even Edgar Wright movies. And the impact of this movie is still felt in every buddy comedy that came after. So the first two movies are currently free on YouTube, with ads, of course, which is annoying. So if you haven't gotten around to seeing them, go give them a watch. They really hold up.
That's the way that it goes, and it's what nobody knows. And every day my confusion grows. Every time I see you falling, I get down on my knees and pray. I'm waiting for that final moment. You say the words that I can say.
San Dimas High School football